Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Clean Libertarian Podcast. And this is a really, really important episode. This is a interview with a group of people out of Tulsa. It's both Hannah and Ducky, and they run S.H.O.T.S, which stands for Stop Harm on Tulsa Streets. And what they are is a needle exchange harm reduction. I wanted to get them on to talk about not only what they do and how they do it, but how they got started. And this is truly a couple of people who have walked through hell and taken that experience, and they're utilizing that to help drive them in their passion for helping other people get out of their situation. As we kind of talk about here or there, when it comes to harm reduction, it's a difficult conversation to have, especially with a society that just cannot wrap their heads around why there would be any benefit in helping addicts. You know, if they're not going to be able to get clean, at least help them use safely, you know, and that's exactly what Hannah and Ducky are up against, you know, especially here in Oklahoma. Statewide, and I believe it's broken down on a municipal basis, but statewide, you have to have a prescription in order to get hypodermic needles clean. So in the various drug communities around this state, you see people sharing needles quite a bit. And you know, for an organization like S.H.O.T.S to be existent, not only providing clean needles, but also providing Narcan and other beneficial, you know, harm reduction tools, things like that. It's a wonderful thing. It's a potent thing, and it's absolutely needed. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And if you have any questions, you know, I'm sure that they'll answer it throughout there, but I'll also have their info up on the show notes page. So anyway, I'm going to shut up. Here is Hannah and Ducky from S.H.O.T.S. All right. And I am here with two lovely people from S.H.O.T.S, both Hannah and Ducky. How are y'all doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
I'm doing good.
Good deal. Okay, so tell us what S.H.O.T stands for. What is that?
S.H.O.T stands for Stop Harm on Tulsa Streets. We are a needle exchange based out of Tulsa. We serve some rural areas too, but mainly we're just in Tulsa.
And just so the audience knows, like, Oklahoma is the land of, you have to have a prescription. There are some counties that will, or municipalities that will allow you to present proof of need. But basically, if you don't have a doctor's permission, you're not getting a clean rig. There's a lot of needle sharing that goes on in the local drug communities in this state. A lot of needle sharing and a lot of bro science that's attached to that. You know, like, hey, just dip your syringe in bleach, you'll be golden. You know, like shit like that. So for an organization such as yourself, it is such a vital thing in the state of Oklahoma and in Tulsa. So just kind of walk us through it. Like, how did all this start? Like, where did the idea come from? How did you get it off the ground?
Well, I lived in Arizona for a couple of years. That's where I got sober. And I started getting really involved with harm reduction there. I was volunteering at a place that mainly did Narcan distribution. In Arizona, syringe exchange is I think it's like a class 3 felony. So it's like a lot worse off than it is here. So I was doing the Narcan thing, and the woman who was mentoring me through that, she just took the time to sit down with me and taught me how to start a needle exchange, like from the ground up, with no money, with nothing. So I moved back to Oklahoma basically to do this, to do S.H.O.T.S. And I think like the week or the month that I got home, I met Ducky. Did I meet you at a Days and Days show? It doesn't matter. I met Ducky. And I had asked I had asked the internet, my Facebook friends and whatever. I was like, hey, like I came home from Arizona with like 500 doses of Narcan. Will somebody help me give it out? And Ducky was the only one who hit me back. Um, so for a couple months, we were just doing Narcan distribution, and eventually we hooked up with some other people and with the knowledge that I had about how to start like a very bare bones needle exchange, we did it with our own money and in our own free time. And now it's this whole thing where I'm getting asked to speak on podcasts.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. Ducky, what's your background? Were you in recovery too?
Oh yeah. I spent pretty much from the age of 12 to 30 something on alcohol and drugs. I was on methadone for 12 years, but it kept me from doing heroin. And then I was on Suboxone for 2 years to get off the methadone. So I've got I've got almost 3 years now without anything except medical marijuana. But I was also on the streets for 10 years using drugs and in the chaos.
Yeah, we know about that chaos shit pretty well, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, we do that well.
When Hannah brought all this Narcan to me, they dropped off like 30 packs. And I thought, how am I going to get rid of all this? And a week later, I called them and I was like, I need more.
Wow. So how did you, let's just go into that. How did y'all approach that? Like, what did that look like? How did you network to the community?
I have a lot of friends and loved ones who still use. And I've never been the type to get on a high horse. Like, I did drugs under a bridge with a dirty needle. I'm not going to bash someone for what they're going through.
Right.
And so I still had a lot of contact with that scene. And I gave it to one friend and they told someone, and I had someone else call me, and it just started going real quick.
So that's what a beautiful thing, man, that you were able to, both of y'all, you're able to get clean. And instead of using that, because I got to be honest, I've done the recovery thing for like 10 years. I've got like a year clean. You know how it goes, man. We do well, we don't do well. We learn all that. When I first got clean, the very, very first time, I was sitting on a halfway house porch and I had a big book, little miniature big book in my lap. And I saw one of my using buddies come down the street and he was like, man, you got $5? And I'm like running after him with this big book. Like, this shit'll change your life, bro. Like, you're fucking up, man. I had all of like 2 weeks clean at the time. Like, what the fuck did I know? But I'm just saying, like, the duality of man.
Yeah.
See, and they've got the whole world yelling at them right now.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who can just be there no matter what. If they find recovery, that's good. If they don't, that's good. I'm just there for you now.
And here's the thing. That's what's going to stick out in people's minds. I could tell you, like, the first time anybody in the AA actually made, or any 12-step fellowship actually made an impression on me was when, I kept coming and getting those 24-hour chips or those white key tags so many times that people stopped clapping. Like, it was that
chain mail.
Yeah, dude, I could tile a bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, it was a thing. And even at that point, there was this guy, and I came in, just crawled through the door one day, and he's like, man, when's the last time you ate lunch? And I'm like, fuck, I couldn't remember. And he took me out to eat and just talked to me like a human. Didn't ask me any kind of like really like way too personal questions, nothing like that. Just talking about my day, his day. And then when it was over, he bought me a lunch to take on the road and just left it at that. Didn't try to preach at me. And so, like, that's the type of stuff that has impact on people. So, like, what y'all are doing, not expecting anything in return, just saying, look, I care about you. Like, that's why I wanted to get y'all on. Like, that it touches me. And especially whenever I learned that y'all are in recovery or, are familiar and been there, done that. What a beautiful thing that you can do with your experience and translating that into what you're doing with it today. I applaud you both. That being said, so like what what are the current Oklahoma laws? Like, have y'all run into any kind of like legal problems and shit like that? I mean, if you don't want to say, just plead the fifth, because like this is a libertarian podcast. I'm not trying to jam you up. You know what I mean? So like, fuck the feds, but at the same time, like, just what I'm hoping that this turns into is kind of a blueprint for people across the country who are going through the same thing, and if they want to start up something similar. So, have y'all run into problems?
What we do became legal April 20th of this year.
Hey,
we've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah. We actually we've gotten pulled over like on delivery twice now. The second time was after we got legalized. We got like it was last week. Me and Ducky got like swarmed with cops. They had a lot of questions. You know, we were at like a shady motel, and you know, we were just trying to be polite, hoping that they like stayed on us and not on the person that we were seeing, which thankfully, you know, they didn't. But we have enough like name recognition now that time the like young cop who was talking to me, there were two cops talking to Ducky and one cop talking to me, like on both sides of our car. But the one that was talking to me was like, hey, like, are you shot? Like finally after like 10 minutes. And they let us go because as far as they know, we're legalized. We don't know what legalization looks like yet. Syringe exchange got legalized for certain entities that report to the health department. I've been hassling the health department to make sure that that's us, as much as I want to remain like fully autonomous and not report to anybody. But yeah, like me and Ducky are felons. I had a warrant the first 2 years we were doing shots. So it's been, you know, it's been a risk. It's been worth it though.
That in those first few years, being able to use everything I learned while I was on drugs or on the streets or with DIY punk rock, I was able to use that to do needle exchange without getting caught.
Yeah. And therein lies the trick. Don't get fucking busted. I love it. I figured that was an element to it. I more or less asked because I wanted to know, you know, I need to approach this the right way. So fuck cops, right? But at the same time, like not all cops are the same. Like you're gonna have some that are more reasonable than others. I mean, it's just when you run in with cops enough times, like, you know, that's the case. So I didn't know if there was like a way to play it, or if the fact that, you know, you're not actually utilizing these things, you know, like, yeah, it's paraphernalia, but it's not really paraphernalia because you're clean. Like I would imagine that would at least have some sort of factor in the interaction. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. And I think definitely, like, I don't know, me and Ducky have like maybe like sober person privilege or something. I don't know. But like I am always less worried about us and more worried about like our participants. Yeah. But in the beginning, I really feared getting pulled over and really, you know, I was really worried about all of that. But now it's like we're an established thing. I can, like, instead of it just being like, oh, it's me and Ducky in the car with 1,000 syringes, it can be like, oh no, we're shots. Like, you can look us up.
So like you got name recognition, like, yeah, bitch, we're a thing.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like they're like harm reduction and like needle exchange is like worldwide, you know, but like within Oklahoma, I mean, like, you know, this is like a backwards place. So there are like people and potentially cops who think that we're just like making this up, and like they don't want to hear like, oh no, there's like 40 years of data to back this up. You know? And they don't care.
No, and that's I told you, Hannah, and Ducky, I'll tell you this part of the story and also the audience, but like when I went back out, I had I couldn't find clean rigs. I could not find clean rigs. I couldn't find anywhere to sell them to me. It was a problem, and it got so much to the point to where I was desperate enough. I called a hospital ER, and I talked to a nurse, and I said, "Listen, I have a needle that a friend gave me. This friend is HIV positive. Now I have these drugs that I'm going to inject today. Now you can either help me get a clean needle so I don't have to use this one, or I'm going to use this one." Now it was a lie. I was lying, doing what we do. And that's lie is sometimes, but she didn't know this. And she still said, "The only thing I could do is help you get into a rehab. That's it." And I'm like, wow. So,
and that's a lie too. Like there's nowhere to send people. Like I don't know. We know that as people in recovery, like there's nowhere to send people. And I'm very sorry that happened to you. And like, she could have helped you.
Oh, without a doubt she could have. But like, I thought, what is the most profound thing that, that I could lay on somebody? And that was the scenario I came up with. And so that's just an example of the type of culture that's still out here. Even the medical professional community is still taking that, kind of position. And it's wild. Harm reduction is not something that is on the lips of anyone in this state. Like, your organization is literally the only one in Oklahoma doing what you're doing. That's it. That's it. Trust me. I talked to a lot of cats still in the circles, and like there's never been anything like it that I've heard of. So what a beautiful thing you are doing. I'm going to say that a million more times, and if it's annoying, you'll just have to get over it because it is beautiful. Damn it. So next question I have is, so how does somebody go about even starting? I mean, we know we have to have the network. Narcan is a great, starter, but in a state that you cannot get just needles willy-nilly, like how do you get needles to even do a needle exchange? How does somebody able to do that?
So thankfully, there are people outside of Oklahoma that are a little bit more open-minded. So there are buyers clubs just for like syringe exchange stuff. So I order my stuff from Seattle, and it gets shipped straight from like the McKesson warehouse or straight from like the wherever. So yeah, there are things in place. In a perfect world, the health department would be giving us syringes or giving us money to buy syringes, because I kind of feel like we're doing their job.
Yeah, you damn straight you are. Yeah.
But yeah, like we just, other orgs nationally have helped us out. Funding is a whole nother thing. But yeah, there are buyers clubs. It's so funny too, man, because like you order your syringes and all your stuff that goes with it, like tourniquets, cookers, all of that. And then like there's like on the like list of things to buy, it'll just be like crack pipes. You just buy crack pipes, buy meth pipes. And like it's just there are people who like understand how important that is. Just most of them aren't in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's kind of Wild West out here. You know what I mean?
And when we first started, my wife Jen, who's also the other part of S.H.O.T.S besides me and Hannah, was selling homemade pies to get just enough money to throw down with some people so we could order some syringes and start.
Are those pies pretty good?
Oh my God.
Hey,
man. My God, so good.
I put down the spoon and picked up the fork for sure. So I might be putting in an order on one of them pies, man. You don't go piquing my curiosity with that. But so that's get involved with the buyers club. I never would have thought of this. Like that's a great thing to be able to outsource that, to other places. Now, I had heard of people going to Tractor Supply and getting the animal syringes, but those damn gauges are, whoa.
Yeah, I've been in treatment with some people that have done that.
I have a friend who hurt themselves really bad with one of those.
I could see how, man. Like, Jesus Christ, you could impale somebody with one of those things,
And I also understand like being in that position where like you have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just it comes with that territory in a state like Oklahoma. So let me ask you, like I know Tulsa has a very, very strong recovery community. Have you crossed paths with them? And if so, like how has that interaction gone?
Um, yeah, in the beginning when we first called for volunteers, there were a lot of people who, you know, were in AA and NA and all that stuff that came because they thought we were some kind of recovery group. And as yeah, and as we like went on, we were like, oh no, we will never ask anyone to quit doing drugs ever. And now we give out meth pipes too. That they kind of that kind of wore off. But I'm not in any of the recovery communities in Tulsa anymore, so like I have no idea how they feel about me. But I think for the most part, we've gotten like a positive interaction. I think.
This this isn't an easy thing to do while you're in recovery. And like I don't think a lot of people realize that. They're like, how can you do it? And it's like, I don't know. I just do it. I have to battle not doing heroin every day anyway. And so this this actually helps me.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, a lot of these people will still go to like H&I meetings. We'll go to the detox facilities. We'll go to where like the wind up joints, you know, like that's where we take meetings to. So doing that and doing what you are doing, there's not a whole lot of difference in between the two. I mean, it's still a beacon of hope. You know, that's what you're doing. That's what you're presenting. You know, it's it harm reduction is the forefront, and it's such a wild concept. And it was to me too, man, because like I was indoctrinated, like straight up 12-step indoctrinated, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm bashing because I'm not. Like my love and the reason that I am clean today is because of the 12-step fellowships. However, like you got a couple different sides of that. You know, you got the logical side and then you got the heavily indoctrinated side. And, you know, it's real easy to get one way or the other. But, you know, through some wonderful people in my life, you know, I've been able to kind of get a better, more realistic understanding of what this recovery thing looks like across the board, not just in front of my nose, you know. And so I do have some friends who've been out to the West Coast and they've talked about a lot of the positives that they've seen with needle exchanges out there and the like. What would you say would be some of the net positives that you guys have been able to see since you've been doing this?
Well, so there have been studies that say that like people who are enrolled, like actively enrolled in needle exchange programs, are 5 times more likely to seek out treatment or get treatment because like one of the positives that we've seen that I didn't really like anticipate getting into it is like we have become sort of like a bridge between like what, you know, the life like we all have in recovery and then the life of like a person who uses drugs who is like heavily stigmatized, had their autonomy stripped from them. So like when we treat these people just like people with like respect, you know, like it people have reported to us that that has like done a lot for them, which I really took for granted, like how easily I walk through life now that I don't do heroin anymore. You know, it was hard, especially when you're like an IV user and like people can see on your body like what you're going through. So I think just like adding a little bit of like normalcy to people's lives has been like one benefit that I like didn't anticipate.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like having to wear a long sleeve shirt during the summertime. You know what I mean? That's I've been there, you know, and it's tough. Hell, it's even, you know, and to the extent that like my hands, and I've got, you know, I got spots in my arm that like if you look long enough, you could tell like, something's going on. So thank God I work in construction. I got dirt all over me all day. You can barely see a lot of that stuff, but
I have ones from 15 years ago.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
nuts.
it's just part of it, man. I mean, and some of us get it worse than others. Like there's people I know today that hadn't used the needle in years and years, and they've got black lines up and down their arm,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's never going away. I mean, black lines, and so it's like, shit, you got to live with that. But you're right. You treat these people like humans. They at least know that there's some value there within them. You're kind of adjusting the algorithm in their mind. You're telling these people that there's some value, there's some worth there for them. And let's be honest, man, that it's impossible for a dead junkie to get clean.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what this whole harm reduction thing comes down to. Whenever we have an opportunity at tomorrow, we have another shot to figure this out. And man, you guys are giving people another tomorrow with this thing.
yeah. Too many of my friends have died behind locked doors alone because they were scared that people would know or think of them differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Like once you get involved in this, once you have this kind of calling, like my calling has been to work with people, anybody. And it seems like you guys have that calling as well. Once you kind of start on this path, it's a given that you're going to run across people who don't make it, and it sucks, and it doesn't get any easier. But it's almost like, you can take that and invest that pain into the next person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But we're going to get in the weeds talking about that. I'm going to start tearing up. I need to not do that. I need to not tear up today, damn it, guys.
Oh, no.
So where can, what have we not touched on? Okay, so the Narcan. Have you heard about your Narcan, like, being used and saving somebody?
Oh God, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So we ask people to get back to us. We've given out like I think 5,000 doses of Narcan, which is a lot. I'm assuming all of them got used. Yeah, dude, we've given out a lot. And then 165 people have hit us back up to tell us that they reversed an overdose. One of the last ones sent us a message and said that it was Easter morning, and they said that someone was able to be at their family Easter because of the Narcan we gave us, which is just so beautiful. Yeah, so
yeah, we get calls from moms thanking us, from spouses thanking us. I've gotten a call from a mom thanking us for everything we did for their son, but he didn't make it. Like, it's rough.
Yeah. And I feel like for, for the three of us, like Narcan was not on my radar. I overdosed, woke up in the hospital, and that's what they had given me. I didn't know it at the time. They gave me IV Narcan, 6 shots in my foot because all my veins were blown out. But when we were out there, you just died. Like you just fucking died. And so I feel like probably the Narcan thing for me is like the most impactful thing that we do. Cause like Ducky said, like I've got a lot of dead friends, that died for no reason.
I got, I walked in on a buddy of mine, tried doing CPR on a dead body for a while, trying to, if I would have had Narcan, like he would have made it. Going to that funeral, helping his parents pack his room for the last time,
Yeah, one of the first Narcan trainings I did in Tulsa when I moved back was at my friend Ryan's funeral in the parking lot. And like, that's so heavy. And it's just this like, Narcan is just this like tiny little vial, and it's like a miracle. And it's something that like I had never heard of when I was using, like it's so like reversing an overdose is heavy, but like it's easy, you know? And like it
Yeah.
wasn't easy for us. Like that, I don't know, that's probably the most powerful thing we do.
And I think, and one of the main things to also keep in mind is that the black market is so insidious with what they will do. Like, fentanyl spiked everything. Like once fentanyl showed up to the level that it is currently, like that Narcan really became important. Not that it wasn't before, but my God, you got people that, will get clean for a little bit and they go back to the black market, go back to the drug game. And it's completely different landscape than what was before.
Yeah.
Like that it's not the same. you know it's
Yeah.
it's not the old tar around here that it used to be. Like it's different tar now, and it's different clear too. Like that's the thing. It's like it's all of these substances are changing. Like I talked to friends of mine. They're using the clear that's around, and they talk about like their vision goes blurry, and it comes to find out like that's the nickel poisoning from the gun bluing that they're using in this bullshit dope nowadays.
Fuck.
Brutal.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's real shit though. You know what I mean? Like that's real shit that's happening today in Oklahoma. In our
Yeah.
backyard. Yeah, that's a problem. So like, for thank God, we see something keeping up with the times, in the form of Narcan. So just break down real quick. You mentioned IV, and you mentioned one of the more problematic with the IV Narcan is that like, if it's a full time, IV user, like maybe finding a vein would be a problem. Can you use Narcan intramuscularly?
Yeah. Okay. So the Narcan that we give out, my overdose happened around 10 years ago. So I think that's just why the EMTs had IV Narcan. Our Narcan is intramuscular. And if we're lucky, we have the nose spray, which is really easy. But the way Narcan is packaged is one vial or one spray is one dose. And our kits come with 2 doses and 2 of the big 23 gauge syringes. So it's intramuscular. The rigs they go with it are thick. So like you could even get it through clothes sometimes if you wanted to. So yeah, no need to hit a vein.
We get a
And
lot of people asking us if it's like Pulp Fiction. They're like, "Do I have to stab this in the heart?" I'm like, "Oh no, please don't do that."
yeah, we also get a lot of people. In the beginning, we had a lot of people that were like, "Hey, just so you know, people are getting high off the Narcan, like just like Pulp Fiction, and it's like it's not adrenaline, it's non-reactive."
No. Yeah. Yeah. I have not had a whole lot of experience with it. I've had to kind of pick it up, just from here and there, but I have talked to people who have seen other people's lives saved by it. I know it's a life-saving thing, but that is one question I never bothered to ask was whether or not, I knew nasal was a thing, but I didn't know if it was intermuscular or not. And with it being an IM, like that is important. That is really, really important. That's great. So let me ask you guys, like, what's better for you as far as like handing out? Would you prefer the nasal to hand out, or would you prefer the intermuscular, or does it matter?
All our participants want the nasal.
Do
People
they?
are more comfortable with just spraying it in someone's nose instead of having to pull out a needle, draw it all up, get them in the arm. People start kind of freak out during all that, and
Yeah.
so they're
Yeah.
more comfortable with the nasal.
Yeah, the nasal is more expensive. We would have that all the time if that were, if we could afford it or if we had access to it. In the beginning, we were like, okay, so we're going to give the intramuscular to people who use drugs because they're comfortable with needles, and the nasal to people who don't use drugs but who know people who use drugs. And then kind of a year into it, I had like an epiphany that it should be the other way around because the people who use drugs are like way more likely to reverse an overdose. They should get the easy stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense, actually. It really does. I think that there will be a time coming up in the future where I will try to beg y'all to come out to Oklahoma City to do one of your little just workshops on how this stuff works, so that way we can get some doses into people's hands around here and show them how to use it. What a beautiful, wonderful thing that you guys have been able to do and continue to do. I will tell you right now that, and I'll be discussing it in my intro or my outro. Who knows which one yet? I have ADD. It'll get thrown in there somewhere. But I will be making an announcement that we're going to start a fundraiser for you guys and get y'all some money from the Liberty movement, because I believe in what you are doing. I know a lot of people that I've talked to, just a brief overview about who y'all are and what you're doing. Like, you get all the love from a lot of people that I've been that I associate with and call my friends and family. So with that being said, how can people find you guys?
Well, if you are a person who uses drugs in Tulsa and you need supplies, you can text 918-273-2671. Wait, no, 918-973-2671. That's the one.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. If you're not a person who uses drugs, but you're interested in what we're up to, we are on Facebook at S.H.O.T.S Tulsa. That's pretty much where you can find us right now. All our info is on there. I get back to messages really quickly. All our donation info is on there. If that's something you're interested in, we hope you are. And yeah, we're around.
I like it, man. I like it. That DIY organization that's just doing good things for people. Like, we need more shots around the country. We need more Hannah and Ducky's, taking on the responsibility, because there's work there that needs to be done. Right. And so, God bless you for doing it. God bless you for being there to do it. What a testament to your character. But, anyway, that's all I got. If there's nothing else, is there anything you guys wanted to plug before we get off of here?
I don't think there's anything that we wanted to plug. I just want to say it's like, it makes me so happy to have another person that's in recovery be down with us. That makes me really happy.
Yeah. It makes me happy to know that we can start having this conversation. And look, here's the thing. AA started in the 50s. Okay. I mean, we are still in the very brand new age of understanding this funny little thing in between our ears when it comes to drug addicts. So I believe that there's a paradigm shift coming, and we're going to start being able to have honest conversations about harm reduction in the rooms, and in the recovery community. It's already getting a little bit closer to that, but, for the time being, at least, you have one ally, but
yeah, for sure.
There are more of us. And, so any time that you guys want to come on, if there's any kind of event that you have going on, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll have you back on here, man. You guys have been wonderful to talk to.
Thanks. Oh, I do have one more thing to plug, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, if you are in Oklahoma City and you want to start a needle exchange, please, for the love of God, reach out to us. We have so many people from OKC needing supplies, and there's only 3 of us. Please reach out to us. I will tell you everything that I did step by step. It will be annoying. Please do it.
And that, I would imagine, especially Oklahoma City, but that would be true for anywhere in the country, right? Like, you could help.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things, is that, like, y'all were like super approachable, and I appreciated that, because I don't always have the best opener, and I'm definitely not a closer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that guy closing the deal. So thank you so much for answering the email. But if you're listening to this and you want to talk, Hannah, you heard it from Hannah, you heard it from Ducky. They're here to give you all the tips and pointers that they can. But all right. Well, guys, thank you so much, man. I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Anytime. All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
All right. There you have it. Just want to take a second, right, and say thank God for people like Hannah and Ducky. Thank God that there are people out there who found a way out and are putting themselves right back on the front lines and doing what's needed to be done in order to provide the opportunity for addicts to get clean. That's the thing. When we talk about harm reduction, when you talk about giving needles clean needles to an addict. So often people look at that as enabling, but what they don't realize is that a dead addict cannot get clean. What this does is provide them the assurance that at the very least, with that dosage of Narcan and a clean needle, they have a shot tomorrow to figure it out. They have another chance. Man, I teared up a couple of times. I tried to keep the emotions in check, but just seeing, a couple people so young that are out there doing the work that needs to be done, what a wonderful thing. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead. I talked about it in there, but officially starting a fundraiser to provide some money to S.H.O.T.S in order for them to go to one of their buyers clubs and get Narcan. So starting today, if you would be interested in donating, please reach out to the podcast, reach out to me on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere that you can find it. But yeah, holler at me. Like S.H.O.T said, they also have a Facebook page. I will be putting that in the show notes. But, let's show them. Let's show this wonderful organization that the libertarian community and the liberty movement as a whole supports non-state solutions to problems. And here's the thing, is that it's a non-state solution to a state-sponsored problem. Hannah and Ducky have figured this thing out, and they've put their literal freedom on the line. Thank God the law got changed, but they operated for a matter of time, without knowing whether or not they would be thrown in jail for doing that. Pretty fucking punk rock, if you ask me. So anyways, with that, I am going to wrap it up. Check out their stuff on Facebook. Also check out the show notes to find that exact link. But with that, I'm going to leave it off. I haven't even listened to the song yet. I'm recording this outro before I've downloaded the song. But I asked them because both Hannah and Ducky, they're punk rock heads like me. So I gave them the opportunity. Hey, if you want to pick a song, absolutely do it. And so this is a song called My Congressman by 15. And it's supposed to be in line. So we will see. This is the first blind intro I've done to a song, so I'm kind of excited about this. This could be really cool. But anyway, so I'll leave you with the song of the day with My Congressman.
I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get AIDS and die. It's just too bad. My senator says I can't give my sister a clean syringe. She should get hepatitis and die. It's just too bad. The president says I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get hepatitis and die. It's just too bad. The policeman says I can't give my sister a clean syringe. She should get AIDS and die. It's just too bad. My county supervisor likes to think he's so much wiser than all the doctors put together who say we can give away clean syringes. My city councilman says it's not a problem. We're only gonna spend millions on treatment that won't work for people who will die. My community is like to claim immunity on the basis of homophobia and a lack of medical fact. Hey America, there's needle you can sleep in with your children, with your daughters, with your sons, with your husband. We got a law says you can't own a needle without a prescription. Did you really think that kept anyone from shooting up? All the politicians say we can't legalize exchange because that would be sending the wrong message. Did you ever notice on every billboard, in every magazine, in every corner store, on every TV screen, messages by cigarettes and alcohol? And don't you know drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, you can't stop it. Criminalize and make a profitable insurance longevity. Drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, you can't stop it. It's not a law enforcement issue, addiction's a disease. If you find yourself in the position of having to share a needle with another person, please take the following steps to ensure that you don't get infected. Suck water up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. Suck water up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. Suck water up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. That's step one. Suck bleach up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. Suck bleach up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. Suck bleach up to the top of the needle and squirt it out. That's step 2. Suck water up to the top of the needle. And squirt it out. Suck water up to the top of the needle. And squirt it out. Suck water up to the top of the needle. And squirt it out. That's step 3. You're done. We got a law. Says you can't own a needle without a prescription. Did you really think that kept anyone from shooting up? All the politicians say can't legalize this case because that would be sending the wrong message. Did you ever notice on every billboard, every magazine, every corner store, on every TV screen, messages by cigarettes and alcohol? And don't you know drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, you can't stop it. Criminal and make a profit of insurance and longevity. Drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, you can't stop it. It's not a law enforcement issue, addiction's a disease. My county supervisor likes to think he's so much wiser than all the doctors put together who say we should give away clean syringes. My city councilman says it's not a problem, we're only gonna spend millions on treatment that won't work for people who will die. My community is like to claim immunity on the basis of homophobia and a lack of medical facts. Hey America, there's needle users sleeping with your children, with your daughters, with your sons, and with your husband. My congressman says I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get AIDS and die. It's just too bad. My congressman says I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get AIDS and die. Just too bad. My congressman says I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get AIDS and die. It's just too bad. My congressman says I can't give my brother a clean syringe if he should get AIDS and die. Just too bad.